Okay, warum sollte sie in den Raum gehen? Warum? Ah, gute Frage. Died of natural causes while in prison is finally bla. Ich wollte nicht sagen wegen des Helden, oder? Wegen dem Gift, maybe?
Objection!
Tatsächlich, als ob. Yesterday at the hospital, we saw you with this bottle. And though the contents spilled during the course of our meeting, a small quantity remained. Ah! Warte einen Moment. According to the defense's independent analysis, Mr. Schaum's chemistry said, the liquid that was still in the bottle was identified as strychnine. What? Strychnine? The very same poison that afflicted Mr. Shakespeare. Ah! Miss Green, you broke into this man's lodgings. For one reason, and one reason alone. To cover the end of the pipe that feeds the gas lamp in Mr. Shakespeare's room with poison. Can this be? You broke into my room? Too? It may seem incredible to the court, but from the remaining clues, there's only one logical conclusion that we can reach. The person who attempted to take Mr. Shakespeare's life with poison was you, Miss Olive Green. Oh dear, oh dear, oh Dewey, me! Oh god. Order! Order! Counsel, are you seriously suggesting this woman put poison on the end of the gas pipe with intent to kill? Yes, my lord. There's no other way to explain the facts. But if Miss Green did indeed set this odious trap 6 days ago, and the victim had put his mouth to the pipe that very evening as expected, the attempted murder would have happened 6 days ago, surely. Ah, well, that's a very good point. True, yeah. Perhaps not, my lord. Okay, Van Zieks? I beg your pardon. There was a significant police presence in the area that evening, on account of the incident on Briar Road. Local residents were being interviewed throughout the night as part of the ongoing inquiry. A circumspect criminal would likely have chosen not to carry out any wrongdoing at the time. Lord Van Zieks. And of course, the following morning there was more activity at Mr. Shakespeare's address. More activity. Ah, yes! You mean his fellow lodger, Mr. Natsume, being arrested on suspicion of murder. That's right, and as the defense has already proposed, Mr. Shakespeare was meddling with the gas in the pipe for a very sinister reason himself. To cause the gas stove in Mr. Natsume's room to go out, thereby asphyxiating the occupant. But once Mr. Natsume had been arrested, his room was under constant surveillance by the police. In the circumstances, Mr. Shakespeare had no reason to blow air into the gas station. Into the gas pipe, meine ich, nicht gas station. His intended victim being in a prison cell. Ja gut, wenn er im Gefängnis war, hätte er natürlich... Wäre es dumm gewesen, trotzdem Gas in den Raum zu pumpen. With the need to tamper with the gas removed, the poison on the pipe lay dormant. And then, 3 days ago now, the situation changed again. Right! Mr. Natsume's trial, which took place here at the Old Bailey, came to an end. The trial in which the man stood accused of stabbing Miss Green in the back, but was duly acquitted. That resulted in Mr. Natsume returning to his lodgings for the first time in 2 days. And that very night, his gas stove mysteriously went out, and Mr. Shakespeare was mysteriously poisoned. In conclusion, the poison that was present on the mouth of the gas pipe had been put there in the victim's room some 4 days earlier. Mary! Mord an einem Mörder oder versuchter Mord. Das ist ja auch was eigentlich. With that new understanding, it becomes clear that this letter was all part of the plan. Beziehungsweise, es war ja auch nur ein versuchter Mord. Mr. Natsume lebt ja noch. It becomes clear that this letter was all part of the plan. What plan? The court will recall that the note gave instructions to visit the slug and sell it at 5 o'clock, and that the recipient should tell nobody else. The reason for those instructions are now clear. To ensure that the lodger would not be at home at the stated time. To make sure I wasn't home? Exactly. While you were out, Miss Green could safely slip into your room, knowing that you wouldn't be disturbed. You mean to say that letter was written by Miss Green? Yes. And in order to cover her tracks, she took it away with her when she left. Just after she smeared poison over the mouth of the gas pipe in your room. Order! Order! What do you have to say for yourself, witness? Just who are you? Why did you try to kill me? Miss Green's motive should be obvious. Ja, wegen ihrem Verlobten, ne? Weil sie vermutet, dass der Shakespeare den auch umgebracht hat. It's all tied up with someone whose name we've heard several times already during the course of this trial. So, that's what's behind all this. You will share your apparent understanding with the court, please, counsel. Which person is behind this woman's motive for the attack on the victim's life? Mr. Duncan was.
Take that!
Duncan was. That's right. Before the defendant, Mr. Natsume, took up residence in the lodgings at Mr. Garrideb's, somebody else was renting the room. Mr. Duncan was. I knew I'd heard the name somewhere else. It was all over the papers a month ago, when the man died in strange circumstances at the haunted lodgings. That does ring a wake. Ah! Of course, yes, I remember now. The young man they claimed was strangled by the convict's curse, or some such. Sadly, my lord, it wasn't a curse of any kind, nor was it an accident. The man died as a result of Mr. Shakespeare blowing into the gas pipe and causing gas to leak into the room. It was murder, plain and simple. Ah! Haha. Well, what do you know? The world is so unfair. Curses, curious death, that's all people care about. If it's an interesting story, they want to know. It doesn't cross their minds that real people are involved. Das Ding ist halt, ich glaube, wir sind noch nicht am Ende, weil das hier muss hier noch irgendwie zur Schau kommen mit Szenen. Auch wenn ich noch nicht weiß wie. 18 Counts of Burglary und so weiter. Aber das muss ja noch irgendwie Dings. Ja. Es muss noch irgendwie. Also, keine Ahnung. Es muss noch irgendwie ins Spiel kommen. If it's an interesting story they want to know, it doesn't cross their minds that real people are involved. And once they are bored, just 1 month later, once the story's lost its appeal, everyone's forgotten him. You mean Duncan was... Mr. Ross was Miss Green's fiancé. Fiancé? What the fuck? Fiancé. Fiancé? You may not have known until now who Miss Green really is, Mr. Shakespeare. But she's known exactly who you are. She's known exactly who you are all along. What? Ach so. Sie wusste die ganze Zeit, wer ist, genau. Because you're her sworn enemy. The murderer who took the life of the man she was to marry. Marry? Miss Green. Is it not the case that in order to exact revenge on Mr. Shamspear, you smeared poison over the end of the gas pipe? This is all quite extraordinary. Am I correct in my understanding that you now accuse both parties, Counsel? Each on different counts of murder? Ich glaube, das ist bisher auch noch nie so passiert. Yes, my lord, that's correct.
Objection!
Inhaling so deeply, it appears that my flashing learned friend has taken in a lungful of dubious gas that's causing his judgment to be clouded. What? Why would Mr. Shamspear have wanted to kill these lodgers, as you say? You have completely failed to provide a motive to substantiate your accusation against the man. Yes, that's right, Mr. Reaper, my liege. I have been slight. 'Tis lies, all lies. I deny every utterance. And you have to forgive me, Mr. Naruhodo, sir. But I don't intend to admit to anything either. Miss Queen, I'm sure you think I'm being very rude, but I'm not going to be sent to the gallows for the likes of this scoundrel.
Objection!
But you broke into the man's room. If you didn't do it to smear poison on the pipe, what was your reason? I thought I'd have a look around, that's all. Sorry? You're right, I suspected him. So I thought perhaps I might find some evidence or something in his room. Evidence that it was him who took Duncan's life. Oh vileness, oh villainy, oh tyranny, oh rotundity of woman. But in any case, whenever I leave my room, I do turn the key in the lock. That whole place is falling apart. The locks on the doors are no different. Duncan showed me once how to unlock the door, with some turps and a piece of wire. Oh awfulness, oh artfulness, oh tyranny, oh profanity of woman. We will consider your trespassing on some future occasion, but for now, tell the court what you found, what evidence your search revealed. Well, I spotted the note that I'd sent him lying on the floor. When I went to pick it up, I noticed something. One of the floorboards was loose, and underneath it I discovered a secret hiding place. Eh? Yes, we also discovered that hiding place. Genau, das Versteck da, wo der Zeitungsartikel drin war, die Box und was war da noch drin? Was war da noch drin? Das Foto hier mit Duncan. Inside we found a newspaper cutting, a photograph and an empty tin box. Ah, yes. Well, the thing is, when I found it, the box wasn't empty. What? There was something in it. Yes. This was a nice key. Ah! What are you doing with that? What the? Every ounce of color has drained from his face. Give it here! Give it to me now! Okay, der Schlüssel ist uns schon mal vorher aufgefallen. Interessant. It's mine. I inherited it. What was that, witness? What did you say? You inherited it. Also geerbt. No, what's all this about? He inherited that key. It was obviously important to you, since you'd gone to such lengths to hide it, so I took it. I don't know what it's for, but you took something precious from me, so I took something precious from you. So what if it means you can't open something now? I don't care. Give it back this minute! Give it to me! Calm yourself, witness. So Mr. Shamspear has tried, and in one case succeeded, to take the life of 2 lodgers now. Okay. Was loose and okay. Okay. Okay, also sie ist da reingegangen, weil sie ihn verdächtigt hat. Yes. His motive for doing so is the key to everything that's happened. It's true that there appears to be no motive to support the accusation against Mr. Shamspeare. At first. But considering everything we now know, I think there's actually something that could explain it. What? I need to recall every piece of evidence at our disposal, everything we've seen and heard. Because I'm sure that I just caught a glimpse of the link that runs through all of these events. Okay. In that case, Counsel, I must demand that you present evidence to the court in support of your claim. What is it that you say can explain the motivation for Mr. Shamspeare's alleged crimes? Ich habe keine Ahnung, deswegen werde ich erstmal speichern. Was könnte sein Motiv sein? Okay, Soap wahrscheinlich nicht, ne? It shows the landlord Mr. Garrett together with a young man. Also mit dem Duncan. Bottle of poison. 6 counts of suspected murder. Day of natural cause was in prison. His final moments witnessed only by a cellmate. Vielleicht weil er arm war und dachte, in der Wohnung findet er den Loot von dem Seldom oder von dem Selden. Es ist ein bisschen weit hergeholt, ne? Aber vielleicht. Ich bin so ein Big Brain. Manchmal. Was zum Teufel? That's an official police report, is it not? The Selden fire. How did you get hold of that? Selden? The now sadly deceased Mr. Ross and the defendant Mr. Natsuma have only one thing linking them. The fact that they had lodgings in the same room. Oh, und deswegen wollte er auch Natsuma umbringen, okay. Well, yes, we know this certainly. A room that was formerly occupied by Selden. Until that is, he was arrested by Scotland Yard for his involvement in multiple burglaries. I see. And it so happens that the convict Selden left behind one very substantial mystery when he died. The sum £1,000 worth of loot that he stole, which as yet remains to be found. Ah, yes, of course, it's coming back to me now. It's written in his file here. £1,000 lost en route to hell. That was how the papers summed it up. And it seems that one particular fellow inmate was with the convict in his final moments. It's not hard to imagine Selden entrusting that inmate with his most closely guarded secret. The location of the stolen loot, and perhaps the key to unlock whatever container the valuables were in. Wait. Meint dass Shamspeare der Co-Gefangene war von Selden? Ah! You mean this key is... Mr. Shamspeare, it was you, wasn't it? You were at the capital offender's side when he died, were you not? What are you talking about? 'Tis a false charge, I tell you, a false charge. The name of the inmate who was Selden at his death isn't noted in this file, but a simple telegram to the prison where he died would quickly tell us how false the charge really is. But even if it's true, why would the man be so intent on killing every subsequent occupant of the convict's lodgings? There's only one explanation for that, my lord. Hä, aber warum? Okay, es macht schon Sinn, ne, weil Garrett, der Vermieter, meinte auch, dass Shamspeare unbedingt die Wohnung von Mr. Natsume haben wollte, ne? Und er meinte, nee, ist nicht. Entweder du nimmst die untere Wohnung oder goodbye. Und dann hat er die untere Wohnung genommen, aber war sehr, sehr, sehr beharrt darauf, dass er die mittlere Wohnung bekommt. Das wäre natürlich der mögliche Grund dafür, ne? Das wäre natürlich der mögliche Grund. Aber Was mich stört ist, wo kommt das plötzlich her, dass er im Gefängnis war? Wo kommt das plötzlich her? Das ist ein bisschen merkwürdig. There's only one explanation for that, my lord. It was in that very room that Selden hid his loot. So, it all comes out. Yes, and having established that, all of Mr. Shamspeare's subsequent actions start to make perfect sense. When he was let out of prison following Selden's death, he made immediately for Mr. Garrideb's lodgings in the hope of renting Selden's old room. However, the retired army man was unable to offer him the accommodation of his choice, because Selden's room had already been let to somebody else. Mr. Duncan was. Ah! Which is why Mr. Shamspeare subsequently devised his gas-based plot to kill the occupant of the room. And when he was successful, he presumably intended to inquire about switching into the newly vacant room. However, a certain jittery someone had beaten him to it. Mr. Soseki Natsuma, the defendant of this case, no less. So you decided to use the ploy with the gas again, didn't you, Mr. Shamspeare? This time to oust Mr. Natsuma. All for one simple and avaricious reason. To get your hands on the 1,000 pounds of loot left behind by the dead convict. Ich würde sagen, da haben wir jemanden überführt. Hold it. Looks like I'm gonna snuff it before they get to stretch me neck. Okay? Listen, I want you to have me loot anything to stop the coppers getting their mitts on it. It's in the room where I was lodged when they got me. Yeah, this is the key to it. Take it. Always stay one step ahead, mate. See you in L, I guess. Shamspeare. It's mine. What did he just say? It's mine. That loot is mine. Okay. Mr. Shamspeare. It's all lies. I don't accept any of it. Why should I? After all, you don't have a shred of evidence. You can't prove I killed that fellow. Forsooth, I'm the victim here, remember? Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? If I don't admit to it, there's nothing you can do. You can't arrest me. For the time being, anyway. Verily, you can't arrest the victim, can you? Isn't that right, ladies and gentlemen? I'm so close. I just need a few more hours. I swore to myself that I'd get my hands on it. And I can almost taste it now. Do you really think I just give up? There's no question in my mind now. This man is guilty, through and through. But he seems so utterly intoxicated by the idea of that loot. I'm afraid that however hard you press him, he'll never admit to what he's done, Mr. Naruhodo. There is a way. Pardon? There's one way I can finish him. No! He's already committed the most heinous crimes to get his hands on that loot. Which means all we need to do is find it first. A fine plan. Were it not for the fact that the police thoroughly searched the room following the death of Mr. Ross. If it's there at all, it must be very well hidden indeed. Without conclusive evidence, I certainly cannot rule. If only there was some way we could find the convict's loot quickly. This is the final piece in this complex puzzle, but I think we might have it in our possession already. Or rather, I think we might have something that can help us find where that loot is hidden. My lord. Yes, counsel? The defense would like to make a proposal about how to find the late convict's hidden loot. I believe we are already in possession of something that could give us a clue as to its whereabouts. Okay. It's our last chance, so it has to be worth a gamble. Besides, we've used the same technique once already, and definitely paid off then. Very well then, counsel. Let the court hear your idea. What do you propose we can use in order to locate the hiding place of deceased convict's soul? Gute Frage. Handprints on the wall. Vielleicht die Handprints? Weil die, ja. Also, nicht, dass das da ist in der Wand, aber wenn da irgendwo ein Tresor wäre, dann würde das Spray doch wahrscheinlich auch anschlagen, ne? Weil dann wahrscheinlich ja Handabdrücke sein müssen. Oder Hautabdrücke. Ich probier's mal. If I'm not mistaken, those are Mr. Shamspeare's handprints on the wall of his lodgings. That's right, my lord. Exposed as a result of the defense's independent investigation of the scene. Based on the wonderful new discovery in the field of forensic science by the great detective, Mr. Sholmes. A great detective? Is that some kind of joke? Do you really think I'm going to be daunted by a man with such a ridiculous title? I should think the great bard ought to recognize such a title when he hears one, Mr. Shamspeare. Ist das jetzt Sherlock? Tatsächlich. Perhaps we should compete for the honor of the most ridiculous title. Ah! 'Tis Sherlock Sholmes himself! What are you doing here, great detective? Your usual haunts are the filthy backstreets of the capital, are they not? Ah, Mr. Reaper, it's been too long. And I see your complexion has worsened since last we met. Mr. Sholmes! He does know Lord Van Zieks, then, well enough to say something like that in any case. Mr. Sholmes, though you may be heralded as a great detective by the population at large, that does not give you the right to come and go in my courtroom as you see fit. If I may, my lord, Mr. Sholmes' newly developed scientific method has helped us to uncover vital clues in this case already. Clues, you say? I call them skin prints, my lord. My method identifies every location touched by an individual under scrutiny. It's a method by which we were able to ascertain this gentleman's gas pipe activities. Ah! You need only a small sample of something the individual has previously touched to make an indicator solution. In your case, sir, I used the teacup you had been holding. Elementary. So now, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, yes. Warte, was? You need only a small sample. Ah, okay. Okay. What am I to use as a sample to make the indicator solution this time? Thank you for offering your help, Mr. Sholmes. When the convict was arrested, he was living in what is now Sosicki's son's room. We need a sample to help locate Sheldon's loot that hidden in his old room. What form will the sample take? Boah. Present evidence oder present a person? Gute Frage.